Reapers Underground. We hope you survive.
My demons, what is up, my demons? It is time for another edition of the Big Bad Devil Daddy himself, Reapers Underground, on a Wednesday night. It's been a minute since we've been on a Wednesday, so I'm happy to be what you see in the middle of your week as we head towards this awesome coming weekend. And I've done so many directors and actors and stuff lately. I was like, it's time to get back to metal. And when bands that are out there doing their thing and they catch my ear and it makes me go, it's time to let everybody know, because as you know, Reapers Underground is the home of the best in underground music, horror movies, and everything in between. So I am privileged to have Eric with me tonight from Thunderbird Divine. And we're going to be talking about the band's history and all the music that they're creating right now and everything else, all things fuzz, baby. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers at Villain Arts Tattoos. Check that shit out. Right, you guys know what to do. Villain Arts Tattoos, the biggest tattoo convention in the United States. When they come to your city, your town, and you have the itch to get another tattoo just like yours truly, make sure you check them out and get a high quality tattoo from some of the best artists in the United States today. And eventually here in a couple months, you will be seeing me there as well. And I will give you all the details on that so you can come and hang with me. But as everybody knows, this coming weekend, we are just 3 days away from Nashville Horror Con. That's right. Nashville, get ready for the Big Bad Devil Daddy Reaper and Cody from Defiler of the Crown Art. We will be there with our booth and stuff. You guys can come meet us and really check out some really cool shit that we got for you. All right. So we are here with Eric from Thunderbird Divine. How are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing well. You know, it is ridiculously hot here in this on the East Coast here, Philly. We're like
we're late.
Yeah, we're rushing up on like a heat index of 106 degrees.
Woo!
Yeah, and high humidity. So that's why I decided to talk to you from my bedroom where I have the air conditioner wailing. And I look like a flag, right? Of course.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
But yeah. So yeah, but otherwise, you know, pretty excited. Got this record coming out. Got a video coming out. First single just came out. You know, it's a cornucopia of joy over here for us. You know,
hell yeah.
We're very excited.
I have coined a term long ago that all my demons out there that tune in week to week know two words: fuzzlicious and rifflicious. So I would definitely have to say that you guys are definitely both of those. It
Well,
is fuzzy goodness that, when you want to chill out and listen to some good, it's a little bit more aggressive in my opinion, but it also has its laid back moments too. But I mean, it's just great fuzzy stoner doom, really at its best, because I get so many submissions and things that I'm constantly listening to, and you guys really stand out. And it's just amazing musicianship, because I was obviously doing my deep dive on you guys, and you guys were all pretty prevalent musicians in your area before you got together. Is that correct?
well, I'm trying to give you the Reader's Digest version because a bit of diarrhea of the mouth, so I'm going to try and keep it concise. I had been in a different band for many years. And when that band split up, I looked around for something else to do, and one of our sort of contemporaries in the scene, I hadn't seen or heard from them for a while, so I thought I'd reach out to the drummer from the band, and he was available. And his band had just kind of split up too, and they didn't have a singer anymore. And I was like, what if we, combine our equal forces and see what happens? And so we ran in a lot of the same circles. And so I had basically a ready-made band already there, guys who had been playing with each other for years. And I started playing with those guys and kind of found our identity. And then a couple people came and went. We added a keyboard player. We lost a bass player. We lost another guitar player. And we, so now we have a different bass player who's been with us for about 2 years named Josh, and he's awesome. He's just what the doctor ordered. And it's just me playing guitar. We have Josh on bass, Jack on keys, and Mike on drums. So that's the four of us. And that's kind of where we are now. So Josh had been in a bunch of different bands as well. And I like to say that Jack just kind of sprung fully formed into our lap. That's Jack right next to me, right behind me. That's Jack. Jack is an absolute delight to have around. And Mike with the long hair, and Josh next to him. They're superb guys. I couldn't ask for better. Not only do I like making music with them, I like them. I don't know if it's mutual, but I like them. I like hanging out with them. I like adventuring with them. I like going out and finding new stuff. We make up our own, and it's being in a band. We make up jokes, and we have our inside sort of sense of humor, and we have a great time. I feel very, very fortunate and pleased to be able to work with such good guys. So that's where we are now, and that's sort of where we came from. I think I answered your question. Tell me if I missed anything.
No, you got it to a T, man. It seems like that period between, I want to say 2015 to the present, so many established bands had either broken up, obviously, before COVID, but more so after the COVID period there. It seemed like there's been member changes all over the place and a lot of, established bands out there. So, but the thing is, though, it's all blossoming into these great, I almost want to call them super bands, just like, bands that are on the next level up or whatever, that, they get together like Down, bands like that, they call super groups. But I feel like in the underground, we have that too, because, when the right people get together and all have the same idea, the same goals, the same work ethic, musicianship, professionalism, and just being a good goddamn human. A band has got to be a family. And if you're not, it just doesn't work out. There's not a lot of cases where it does. So that's awesome that you guys have been able to come together. Now, were you doing like heavy psych type stuff prior, or any of the, almost kind of like, I almost want to say Electric Wizard, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats style? Were you doing that previously?
So I guess what you'd say, what I was doing previously, I was in a band called Wizard Eye, and we were a trio. And what we did in that band was pretty much all riff, if that makes sense. Like, it was all riff. And it was definitely pretty doomy. So there were some slow tempos, mid tempos, but it was kind of progressive. We definitely played stuff that was kind of complex and heavy. And I was not very good at singing. I could, belt, but it was a lot of like vocal fry type of stuff. And so,
gotcha.
I've spent a lot of time working to get better at singing since then. But yeah, that band was, it was pretty heavy. It was kind of progressive, and there were definitely a lot of psych moments. I mean, I play theremin. I started playing theremin when I was in that band. And so there'd definitely be some freak out moments where I would play theremin and, with a ton of delay on it and just kind of like, get really wild and, spacey. And, those, I'll say it to the cows come home. Those two guys, different Mike Scarpone was the drummer in that band, and Dave Shariari was the bass player. Those two guys are excellent musicians, really excellent musicians. And
Big Daddy Robbie says, do the vocal fry voice.
I don't know which vocal fry Robbie wants me to do. Do you want me to do like the Paris Hilton voice?
No, please don't, because then we want to do one of those.
I don't want to. I kind of want to, but then again, listen, being a vocalist in a band means you spend a lot of time doing dumb things with your voice to see what works.
Of course. That's why I stay behind the drum kit.
Yeah. I mean, never want to incredible dude skills. Listen to someone doing their vocal warm up.
Oh, yeah.
The most metal fucking guy. Can I say the F word on this? I guess I can.
Of course. Look at me.
You could be a pastor. You could be a youth pastor and be very effective by using the F word. So I'm going to be real careful.
I am far from that, trust me.
I'm going to ask permission right after I say it. If you ever want to see somebody not look cool, like the coolest metal guy if they do vocal warm-ups, I'm sure Bruce Dickinson looks like a total fool, made me my moo, that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's like a complete schmuck, Okay, so we say a lot of fuck. I don't want to know what's worse than that. I really don't. Because growing up, I was told the F word was the worst. So if there's something worse,
that's why I always wanted to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent a lot of time saying it personally. So, I still do. I try not to sometimes because, there's more words out there in the world. But yeah, like I
Tommy.
Oh yeah, Tommy, that's right. Those do a lot of those.
Right.
Yamelka,
what's
you sound very stupid doing them. That's why I do them in the car when I'm by myself. That's
lips, teeth, the tongue.
All that. When I started doing those, all of a sudden, greater range, my enunciation improved, and I got better at singing notes as opposed to just doing. I always hit some notes. I was usually on point for the most part, but it was harder to hear what I was saying. So it's like, why did I write these lyrics if no one knows what I'm saying? So it was something I worked harder on to be a little bit more articulate sounding. I feel like doing that has also opened up the music more because suddenly it matters what key you're in. and it matters what
Right.
the chord, you know. So you know, that's kind of where I've landed with it. I just work on singing all the time. You know, I spend at least a good 2 hours every day singing and playing guitar, and you know, again, the least metal thing you can possibly do is be sitting in front of your computer, and I've got my acoustic guitar, and I'm sitting there, you know, I'm singing Alicia Keys, and
Nothing wrong with that.
I sing like Adele songs, Keys, Al Green.
Oh, definitely get down to some Al Green, sure.
I mean, actually, just before we came on here, I was downstairs singing "Let's Stay Together."
Nice.
Yeah, well, I figured I was going to be talking for a while, so I'll get a little up.
Well, you know, and that's what it is. Your throat is a muscle. It's full of muscles. So, you know, they have these things called, you know, obviously, you know, vocal folds. And as you are constantly practicing, you are building up those vocal folds. And, you know, that's just how not only are you training that, but you're training your ear as well. Because, I mean, as a guitar player, you already can tell, you know, if something's out of tune or, you know, somebody hits a wrong note. It's the same thing with the voice. Like I said, I just belong behind the drum kit. I forever will be, and that's fine. But the thing is, though, you bring, it was really cool that you actually mentioned Adele because of that. She has a little bit of a rasp to her voice, and I absolutely love the raspiness of your voice. And hopefully this is a compliment. But your voice reminds me. I'm sure you probably get this from different people. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But it kind of reminds me of Pepper Keenan in COC. So just
That's
kind of like the.
I can sing, so I'll take it.
It's aggressive. It's raspy, but it's also, like you said, on key. It hits all the notes. And your clean voice is really good, too. So you have really kind of like all the best flavors. That's where I was kind of talking about, hey, what's up, Kyler? The aggressiveness, like when you're singing, you're kind of aggressive with it, but I can understand it. It's got a great, full, like real kind of a punchy tone flavor. I think it's great. Because I mean, the musicianship is just beautiful. Like your guys' psych moments, almost like Led Zeppelin jammy moments is what I like to call it. You know, with like a real nice solo going on. Everything's kind of like just spacey, I guess, you know, very indicative of late 60s and 70s.
These compliments are everywhere, Reaper. I'll tell you. These compliments are getting everywhere. You know, I'm starting to
Hey, everybody knows that I tell what I feel when I hear something. I lay it out. It's not me just trying to massage your back. It's me just telling it how it is, because that's how I feel about it. And as we're going through this, everybody out there in the Morgrut universe, we're going to be listening to a couple of tracks from Thunderbird Divine, and you're going to see what the fuck I'm talking about, because there are plenty of fuzzlicious moments, jazz, blues influences in there, very indicative, in my opinion, to the very first Black Sabbath record, which, in my opinion, was probably the most bluesy, most jazz kind of oriented stuff that they've ever done. I mean, a little bit on into the Paranoid album too, but after that it turned to metal. I mean, let's be real, it just did. But
with that,
yeah. So you know, there's a song, and I'm just kind of tickled pink because, like I said, I almost hear some sludge in there sometimes. It's not real bassy, but sometimes that fuzz is just so crunchy. It reminds me of like a crowbar or something like that. You know, and Down is pretty well known for, you know, kind of moving through the flavors, especially on their second record. And of course, I wore it down because, you know, I have you on the show, and that's the first people I went to. So, But I hear all those flavors and things are tight. You know, there's a looseness sometimes to all the different stuff that you guys do, but almost always it's tight as hell, and I love that. And you guys have even more shit going on. Sometimes you'll throw a djembe drum in there, or you know, maybe some bongos. You had two wonderful ladies doing backup vocals on some of your tracks, and I was like, that shit's badass. Almost has a little bit of a southern rockish kind of feel every now and again too. So I don't know. I love bands that you can't put them in a box. You can't say they're just this or they're just that. You guys are very original. And the first song that I had listened to was the Devil's Hat Band. You wanna tell us a little bit about that track? Other
Sure.
than it's 10 minutes long.
It's kind of it's quite an endeavor. Like we usually end our sets with that one quite often, because by the time we're spent. Like there's a lot going on there, you know.
Yes.
So let's see. Lyrically, the Devil's Hat Band is it's about barbed wire. Oh, thank you, Skull Maggot 99. Thank you very much.
That's Kyler. He's one of my most loyal viewers, and anytime I recommend, he goes and checks them out. So
right on. That's awesome. It's great to have folks like that in the corner. So the song is about barbed wire, and it killed the cowboy. Because up until they invented barbed wire, you needed cowboys to keep all of your cows, you know, herd your cows and move them from one place to the other. But then they added barbed wire, and it sectioned out the plains, and suddenly you didn't need as many cowboys. So it killed the way of life, you know, and representatives from cowboy organizations were saying, this stuff is going to put us out of business. It's the Devil's Hat Band. And of course, Native Americans hated it as well, because all of a sudden you couldn't ride across a plain because all of a sudden there was stuff that'll mess up your horse and you in the middle of the way. So I thought about that. So that's what the song is about lyrically. Musically, it's kind of like a blues with some excitement, and so it's got a very sort of old school, sort of almost like a John Lee Hooker turned up 11 kind of to it. And then once we sort of came up with the idea behind it, it just sort of ended up being like, oh, well, here's this part, and then here's this part. And they all sort of went together. And the next thing you know, you've got an 11-minute song with, you know, a bunch of cues in the middle of it, a bunch of, you know, stuff. And then we spent a lot of time layering on that one. There are so many instruments on that song. I can't begin to tell you. There's a lot of synthesizers. There's analog synth. There's all kinds of filters. There's a thing called a marxophone, which is sort of like an auto harp, except it does mandolin sound. Yeah,
that's cool.
There's a tenor steel guitar in there. There's a lot. There's a lot going on in that song, and it's a super fun. I love playing that one. Really fun to play live, and it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm never tired of playing it. I get tired when I play, but I don't get tired of playing.
Oh, it's a lot to remember, but you know, in a lot of ways, especially in the live experience, you can always kind of embellish on some of that stuff, which I don't know if you guys kind of do, just like jamming it sometimes live. But on the recorded version, it's like this awesome, like almost Led Zeppelin like kind of jam, blues jam in the beginning is kind of what I got from it. And then you hit me with this fucking riff that I can't get out of my head now. It's so good. I've always talked about on my show about multiple levels of heavy. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be bone crunching. It just takes one good riff to just make you feel like you got to start bobbing your head, you know. You know, off the ground, and this riff definitely does it for me. And we'll show everybody here just exactly what I'm talking about. It was off of the Magna Sonic album from 2019. I love the symbology there at the bottom as well. We'll talk about your covers in a minute because who your artist is, he's killing it, and definitely for the new record as well. But here is a little taste of the Devil's Hat Band. Check it out. As soon as that riff kicked in, I was like, where's the wall? I need to punch it right now. Oh, man. So everybody out there in the Morgrot universe, I think you can kind of tell from what I was saying that, I mean, you heard it. That shit is heavy goodness. I love it. Oh, I could not agree more there, Cody. Cody says, I get such a Sabbath vibe for this. Oh, I was going to say, I mean, there's definitely a Tony Iommi influence on you. Do you happen to use an SG, or what's your okay?
And it's not because of Iommi, believe it or not. My primary.
There's something about that guitar.
What's that?
I said there's just something about that guitar.
Well, so the primary one that I used for a long time, and it was like is basically the only guitar I used in my last band. And I was in a band for like 8 or 9 years. It was pretty much the only guitar I used. It's a 1978 Tobacco Burst SG. I bought it for $250 in the early 90s. It was a husk. Nothing on it worked, but the body was good and the neck was good. And,
nice.
I took it to a guy who was a good friend of mine, who was a guitar repair and luthier guy. Mm-hmm. And I said, I kind of like handed him the guitar in a case, and I was like, "It doesn't go. Can you make it go?" And and so I didn't say no price, no. Well, I didn't say price is no object, but I did say, make it go as good as you can make it go. And
right.
Luckily for me, the guy has expensive taste, and so he put good pickups in it. He put in Tom Anderson pickups, and then replaced all the hardware, which was trash. Replaced all the pots, which was trash. Replaced the tuners. So while it is an SG, it is not stock. I like it. I like a guitar to be fairly simple. I like it to just sound good. I don't want to have a lot of switches or knobs on it. I want to be able to like sort of turn it down and get one thing and turn it up and get another thing. But I don't want a lot. I'm functionally kind of a Neanderthal. So I really, I have too much going on.
For sure.
I'm singing. I got the theremin. I got the guitar. If I have to mess with pitches the whole time, I'm gonna probably shit myself. Like I don't have the physical acuity
right
to do all that. So I like to be able to like turn the volume down a little bit. And so yeah, that's primarily for anybody who's into gear. It's primarily an Anderson H3 in the neck position part. It's in the neck position. That's pretty much the only thing I use is the Anderson H3 in the neck position. And that was my primary guitar for the longest. Like I said, 78 Tobacco Burst. Great guitar. I love it. And it comes with me to over every show. But more recently, I threw down and bought myself a new one at a
cool.
Yeah, brand new. Well, this one's green. I bought a green Gibson SG, and then I had it kitted out the same way as the 78, so that I have like a new one and an old one, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have both of them to work with. So that's pretty much. I mean, I have Josh. He has a bunch of my guitars over at his house because he's our recording engineer. Our bass Josh, and I want to say he's probably got. He has my sitar. He has my Strat. He has my 12-string, and my lap steel, and my Telecaster, and I don't even remember what all else. Like he could rob me blind if he wanted to. John, thank you for listening. I could and then downstairs in my living room, I think there's probably 8 or 9 guitars sitting there, plus my kitchen guitar, and then I have a dining room guitar, and a bunch of synthesizers and noise toys. We get into it. So, oh yeah. So I mean, my point is, as much as I love playing the SG, that's primarily what I use for live stuff. And when I want that, when I want to feel very comfortable in the studio, I'll use the SG for recording. But I mean, if it's got strings on it, I'll pick it up and dork around with it.
Hell yeah.
I have mandolins, banjos, things like that. I don't think that one.
Oh, right. I do notice that you do use a wah from time to time. Do you use any kind of a, in a lot of heavy psych bands, you see these huge pedal racks. Do you get into that much, or just kind of like simple stuff?
Well, for there's 2 ways I look at it, right? So for live stuff, I want it simple. Because, like I said, I'm functionally kind of a Neanderthal with this stuff. So, I have a good-sized pedal board, but there's not many pedals on it, right? So I have a loop switcher that I can use to control the pedals, and a couple of other things, but it's not fancy. I don't even use some stuff a lot of the time, to be honest with you. I have a fuzz, I have a Morley wah. I have an AB switch. I have a tuner. I have a Keeley Katana boost. That's my primary sound. I have a Phase 90. I have a Bella Epoch delay and a Keeley Vibroverb. And that's pretty much it. And then I have my theremin that I use live. But, right. I mean, all things considered, the pedal board's fairly simple, but I have everything spread out kind of far, so I can see everything where it is. And I have, I used to have things crammed together more on a different pedal board. And it just made it harder for me to pack up. It made it harder for me to, if something went wrong, it was harder for me to troubleshoot it because there's so many things were crammed together. so that's my live position, right? In the studio, we have literally, Josh has like a huge Tupperware container full of pedals. And then
my goodness.
I brought a duffel bag full of pedals. And like weird things like kalimba and stylophone and whatever that thing is, critter and guitar-y little synth that's made out of 2x4, and like we always say, it's like you go for the sound, right? You try to find a sound, and you start dorking around with things. And one of the things Josh and I always say is like, when you're looking for a sound, you got to be pragmatic. Like, if the way to get that sound is to take a moose antler and hit the back of the guitar with it, then you
right,
look for that fucking moose antler. You know what I mean? Like,
nothing wrong with it.
If it gets the job done, right? If it gets you the sound you're looking for, and so, like I said, we're very pragmatic about it. So yeah, we have a bucket of pedals, and I don't think there's any. There might have been one or two that we didn't touch for this recording, but there's a lot of weird shit in there. Weird, hard to. Some of the pedals don't make sounds that are particularly musical, but then you tweak them around, you run it backwards. That's a big one for us, is putting things backwards to see what it sounds like. Yes, the waterphone, Tommy, that's right. We have an Appalachian waterphone on a couple of our songs.
That's killer.
We have a good time. We have a good time. Josh and I would be in that little studio from like 7 o'clock until 1 o'clock in the morning, couple days a week, dorking around, finding sounds. I mean, that's for the layering, right? But for the actual songs themselves, like the meat of the songs, that's a band. Like, that's us being a band.
Right.
And that's like, that's our boy Mike crushing the drums. That's Josh crushing the bass line. That's Jack getting weird and making crazy organ sounds and farfisa sounds and violin and all the things that he can do. And it's me layering in guitars of all different stripes.
Right. But you're still kind of achieving a classic sound, but kind of putting a more of a spin on it, because like I said, it's a lot fuzzier than normal fuzz. So, sometimes it's so crunchy. I love it. It's like a Nestle's Crunch Bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sound.
Well, I don't think we were not afraid to use anything. I mean, we're fortunate. Josh has a stack of amps in his studio. He's got an Orange, he's got a Mesa, he's got a Marshall, he's got an Ampeg, he's got a Fender. All kind. I mean, there's just a bunch of them. Some weird ones, and we just kind of went through and used whatever seemed to work best for the thing. So we had them stacked up, like 4 amps on top of each other, just to see, and we just go between one to the other to see, what gave us the thing we wanted. And we're not precious about the label on the amp is, right? So if it's a Marshall,
right.
Listen, Marshalls are fucking awesome, right? But sometimes that ain't the flavor, just like Orange amps are amazing. They're great amps, but sometimes that ain't the flavor. Sometimes the flavor is, a weird old, no-name amp, and that's what's doing the job for you. Sometimes that's what does the job. Something that sounds
true art in.
What's that?
That's when that's kind of a sign of like true art right there. You're more interested in finding the sound that you have in your mind that you want it to sound like, instead of nothing against a lot of doom bands out there, but the first thing they go for is the orange. Got to have orange everything, from top to bottom, and not really experiment. So it's really cool that you guys are always trying different ways to find the sound you want, for each song.
Well, I don't know how else to do it. We don't want the song to be samey, right? Like we're
Right.
just not, we're not that kind of band, you know. Like AC/DC does not play with their formula, right? It's pretty much Angus using his SG and either his brother, R.I.P. Malcolm, or Malcolm's son, or whoever they got playing for him now. But like, it's that straightforward sort of thing.
Yeah.
AC/DC is fucking amazing, and and that sound works for them. And they've made the same album like 15 times over, and every single time it's
So
fucking
true.
amazing. It's fucking amazing. They make amazing records, and so I can't hate that, right? But when we even from the
No worries.
it's over on a plastic bottle.
Got to go ham on something.
Yeah, and by a similar token, orange amps are great orange amps. Great amps. Right? We used one for a couple things on the record, and when we got it going, it was like, shit, that thing does the thing. Like it does the orange amp thing. And that's not the only thing I want. It's not the only. This is my jacket.
Just gnawing at it like a bone.
Yeah, love them. But of course, he would not be fucking with it if I wasn't talking to somebody and being
Exactly.
It's like as soon as I start talking to somebody, especially if it's being recorded, oh, now he's looking for it. You dick. Go lay down. Go lay down. This is dad. It's dad's now. No, not for you. Here.
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Yep.
Yep.
I gotta sit on it or something. Watch now. Torturing me for it. Like, yeah, give it back. Give it back.
Right.
He's looking at me. I'm the biggest jerk off in the world. Cut it out, man. Go lay down. Go lay down. Don't be a dick. Go lay down. He's a great dog. I adore him, but he can be a real asshole sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I just want an orange sound or just want a Marshall sound or a boogie sound or whatever. I want, it's got to fit the song, right?
Yep.
All the songs they're your kids, right? And sometimes, some of your kids are gonna grow up to be assholes, and like they want a certain kind of sound, right? So like they want that real snotty blah 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 sound, right? And then some kids are more distinguished and refined, and
Right.
And they want a different thing, So for one of the songs, I really thought a Strat sound was it for that song, and so that's what I used. I have a parts caster, they call it, that I had a guitar guy put together for me, and it just has that like clucky sound, and it was the sound we wanted for that song, and that's what's in there. Other songs, we wanted something bitier. I have a Telecaster. I think we put the Telecaster Fender.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, but I mean, it's not very doom. Telecasters aren't very doom. A Telecaster through a little like 112 Fender. That's not very metal. But that's the thing. I don't really care about being metal.
No, like I said, heaviness is not defined by certain gear or, certain speeds or anything like that. There's just different levels or different genres of it. And like I said, being a riff-driven band, I'm so glad that kind of transferred over from your previous band, which was, like you said, just all riff-driven, and it followed you into this band as well. But you place it in such an awesome way, like how you sometimes you'll start it off nice and groovy and a little bit clean, a little bit soft, a little spacey, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere punches you right in the face and you don't know what the hell happened. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think right there, what you just said is where we live. It's a thing that I say quite often, and the idea behind what we're doing is, if we want it to sort of wash over you, but you should be a little uncomfortable, right? Like, so what I like to call it is the shit or go blue. You know, like, you're not really sure. Like, is this funny or is this scary? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel uncomfortable? I don't really know, but I got to keep listening.
Watching a horror movie.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like, it's kind of like watching something from the late '60s, like some weird psychedelic movie, where it's like, okay, wait, am I scared of this?
Cult films.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's about, And a very important factor involved here is all of us sort of listening to each other and respecting each other in the process.
Absolutely.
So like, I'll give you an example. Our drummer Mike, who is a dear, dear, wonderful man, and I adore him. When we were working on the record, he goes, "Hey Eric, could you write like a cowboy song?" I was like, "A cowboy song? Like, what kind of cowboy song?" And he goes, like a spaghetti western cowboy song.
Yeah.
I was like,
Love
yes,
it.
I will do my best. And so I went home and I listened to some Ennio Morricone, and I listened, to the Good, the Bad soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And, I came up with a chord progression that I felt like sounded like the ecstasy of gold, sort of, sort of. And then I kind of put a surf guitar on top of that. And then I brought that to Josh, and, he put like a thumpy bass line on it. And then.
So fat, too. Love it.
Oh, yeah, we had a great time with it. And then I played harmonica on it. And then Jackie came in and did some farfisa. And then we did melodica. And then 12-string. And then I did some synth. And then we got the ladies to sing some big, epic type stuff over the end of it.
Nailed it.
And
absolutely.
And then Mike does this sort of rolling snare drum press roll all the way through it. And, it sounds like the beginning of a cowboy movie, which is what I believe Mike asked for. So our friend Andy, who's in another band called Clam Fight, described it as that we don't say no to each other. And that we're kind of like that improv comedy thing where they say yes and. So, like, Mike says, "Why don't you do a cowboy song?" And I go, "Yes, and I'm also going to put, chirpy synthesizer in it." And, and that's kind of how we build things together. It's a lot of mutual respect as musicians for each other, and basically respect for each other as people and as artists. I am sounding the least metal in the world right now. About respect.
A lot of metal bands could take a page out of your book, though.
Yeah. I have not sacrificed one single goat yet. I'm so sorry.
We don't do that.
We don't. Okay.
I know I don't.
No, I mean that's a kind of theater, I suppose, and I don't hate it. Just
For sure.
Really do. Stage props are, like I said, it's hard enough for me to just stand up and put on a guitar, hit the pedals at the right time, and provide a modicum of entertainment in the process. God forbid I have to play around like a severed pig head that's dripping blood. It's so gross. We get kicked out of it if we did,
It's not very sanitary either.
No. And I think we'd be banned from every club we play at if we did any kind of shit like that, But
it's cool if it's like a one-off, but to do it constantly, I think, is a little bit of overkill. But that was actually leading to one of the questions I had to you. what kind of like inspires you lyrically?
Well, that's an interesting question because at one time it was kind of like telling stories, right? Like it was not personal. It was like, like years ago I wrote songs about like when I was in Wizard Eye, I had a song about I dreamt I was kidnapped by Neptune, taken down to the bottom. And that was a legit dream that I had. But it wasn't very personal. It was kind of abstracted. And more recently, and I wrote about like, I had a dream. I wrote a song about being a Viking sword, and like I'm sure Freud would have a fucking field day with that one.
I bet. Oh, it's phallic. It's phallic.
Pretty fucking phallic. But again, not particularly personal. It's just about being the most bad Viking sword in the world, But that's not very personal. It's not coming from here. It's a story, right? And some of it was like sort of character based. But in more recent years, I just I write about what I experience, what I feel. And I get something out of my system in the process. And the songs mean more to me now than they did before because I'm writing about, things that happened in my life. For example, the song that you have, the single that's out is called Laugh. That's out on Black Doomba Records, and you can find it on their Bandcamp page there. Last Laugh is about arguing with a friend when you don't agree, and it's like, someone wants to win, right? Everyone wants to win the fucking argument, right? You want to be the one who's right. And I try to boil it down to simple language because I am a verbose gentleman, in case you hadn't noticed.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
I mean, look, I'm done apologizing for being who I am. I can. If
you shouldn't.
What's that?
I said you shouldn't have to.
Well, through a lot of my life, I've been told I talk too fucking much, and like shut the hell up, and go to the office. You're talking too much. Yeah. Well, a lot of people. It made me rather unpopular with teachers in grade school and some people don't like people who talk a lot, and that's just all there is to it. I just kind of embrace who I am, and that's who I am, But anyway, so in arguments, people want to get the last laugh. They want to be the one who goes like, "Fucking told you, I told you this was right, and I didn't, and there you go. I'm right, you're wrong." And I'm thinking specifically of a relationship that I had with a person who was my friend for many years, many years. And we worked with him a lot on our first record. He was a very, very good friend of mine. And when we went to mix the record, we had a disagreement about the way the record should be. And we stopped being friends over it because he wanted to make it weirder and we wanted to make it more rockin'. He didn't like it and he didn't want his name associated with it anymore. And we really stopped talking to each other. And
damn.
Yeah, well, it was a very passionate, creative, situation. We worked very closely for a long time, and we'd been friends for 25 years. So and just good buddies for a long time. And I just figured we'd always mend fences, but we didn't. We never did. Because I never wanted to reach out to him because he had a caustic tongue on him, and I thought for sure, like if I reached out to him and said, like, listen, let's mend fences, he would creatively tell me to go fuck myself in like you know what I mean, in like in the most vicious way that you could possibly imagine, because he was mad. He turned on me and did not want to be my friend anymore. But I thought at some point we'd be able to mend fences. But unfortunately, he passed away before we could do that.
Oh man,
yeah, that was rough. That was really tough. That was really tough. He was not an old man. He was 54, 55.
That's all. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he had an enlarged heart and didn't know it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And, and he always, he was very dramatic, and that, he'd always say, it's like, people don't like me, people don't love me, I'm going to die alone in my apartment and no one's going to. And that is actually what happened. He died alone in his apartment, and people did not know. He just didn't show up to work for a while, and his landlord came down to check on him. He was in his boxers with a cigar on his couch, dead. And,
that's no way to fucking go. Let me tell you that.
I mean, it fucked me up in my heart.
Yeah.
I still miss that guy a great deal. He was a very good friend, and very, very, very smart, very, very talented musically. And if you listen to Magnasonic, his fingerprints are all over that record. He's the one who taught me how to record backing vocals with the ladies. He's the one who taught me how to do that. He's the one who taught me to sit behind the piano and show the singers the notes that I want, and like show them the harmonies. I watched that fucking talk when he was tracking, and he's the one who got me to open up my voice more. He introduced all my bandmates to a different way of making records that we hadn't been privy to. He was always one of those guys who was like, I was like, I don't want to do like a regular part there. He's like, well, then fuck it up. Fuck it up. Make it weird. Make it as good as you can, and then we'll find a way to make it musical. Let's. And he's really the one who taught me to do that. And so Last Laugh is very much about him, it's kind of like the first lyric is, when it's all done, who lost and who won, and I mean, it's a very simplistic lyric, right? But if you think about
it means a lot. There's a lot of depth.
Thank you. I mean, you don't win in those situations, right? Like,
sure don't.
And especially if you can't come to terms with each other, and then one of you dies. Technically, I have the last laugh because I'm still here, right? And I'm still doing it. I'm still making it happen. I'm still playing music without his help. I'm still achieving without his advice in life. But at the same time, I didn't fucking win. I lost my friend.
Right. That happens so much across not only just the music industry, but even the acting world. People get pissed off at each other for the dumbest things, man. The dumbest things, and so many friendships that were there that were strong, they're no longer strong, and I mean, we're getting up there in age. I mean, I'm almost a half a century old myself, so you watch so many people just fall out of your life. It's like, man, life is too short to, not speak to each other over some stupid tiff you had forever ago.
Oh, there's that, but then there's also, there's that difference between losing somebody over a dumb reason, and you should mend your fences, right? And then there's losing people that you probably should fucking lose because
that's also true. We want more of
sometimes it's very hard to know the difference when you're in a passionate situation, when you're emotional. Sometimes it's very hard to know the difference. I'm like, is this a fuck that guy forever situation, or is this a fuck for now and I'll get back around to you situation? Like, you pissed me off, but let's table this, and unfortunately, in the situation we're talking about for the song, we both mistook it for it wasn't a fuck you forever situation. It didn't have to be, but now it is. You know what I mean? So we actually we were asked to be part of, well, I was asked to be part of a compilation dedicated to this guy because he was a pretty well-known musician in indie rock circles. And so and I played on a lot of his records. So there was a song that we had worked on together that never got recorded that we had meant to record, but I still had the demo of it that we recorded in my basement. And I asked the person putting the compilation together, I said, can we do the song? It doesn't, he's never recorded it. So it would be a new song, but it's his lyric. It's our chord progression that we came up with together. Would that be okay? And they said, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm like, okay. So I brought it to the boys. I'm like, you guys, I want us to do this,
Right.
And so we tracked the song. It does not sound like Thunderbird Divine at all. It's way weirder, way more straightforward, way more melodic. But it's, it that'll be out in December. That's around when his birthday would have been, or is rather. And so, it's not metal. It's not even sludge. It's like a weird cross between, say, like the Pixies and the Beatles and something else. It's a really good song, and I'm proud that I hope he would be proud of it. Yeah, we were actually able to grab the very beginning of the song. You can hear him saying underneath it, it's Martyrs of Tomorrow, take 33, or something like that. It was good, to get his voice on that song. And I mean, I just hope other people like it as much. It was cathartic for me to get that song,
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So yeah, he's what Last Laugh is about. It's sort of it's like man, because the song hits pretty hard, and it sounds like rollicking and swaggery and shit like that. But there's a lot of
there's depth to it.
There's a lot of emotion for me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like the ladies who are singing in that song, I would not have known how to record them singing those backups if it wasn't.
Hell yeah. And we're going to actually roll a clip from your latest single there, Last Laugh. Check it out. That chorus is insane when it hits. I mean, I love, obviously the rocking part is just amazing, but it's like the biggest orgasm when that chorus hits, because it's like just suddenly the sun peers out from the clouds, and I don't know. It's just an epic moment in that song, and just a hell of a good single, man, all the way around. And that's going to be on your new record,
Yes.
Which is Little Wars. I've been subliminally showing that in the background the whole time because it's by far one of the most killer album covers I've seen in a long time. Did you commission somebody to do that?
No, actually, our drummer Michael is the artist and designer of that cover. Mike is an exceptionally talented gentleman. He also, our video comes out on Friday. The video for Last Laugh comes out on Friday, and you'll find that over on the Black Doomba page. 7 p.m. We're going to be debuting that song, the video for that song, on Friday. And Mike also edited the video together. Mike is a man of many talents, and not to mention just a sweetheart. He's a good friend, and I adore him. And he did the album cover, and he did the single cover for Last Laugh with our friend the Laughstronaut. Jack came up with the name from the Laughstronaut.
No.
But yeah, Mike did all the art for this record, and I think he tore it up. He did a great job on it. And so yeah, we didn't commission anyone. I suppose we should give Mike a couple of bucks for it, but you know, he hasn't asked for anything. So usually we just like make sure he gets like a 14-inch pancake from time to time.
I was going to say either that or, you know, a 24-pack and, you know, whatever his favorite vice.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad you dig it. Oh yeah, there's Tommy. There's the link. Thank you, Tommy, because I'm not smart enough to know how to do that. Put the link. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, so I'm glad, you know, our man Tommy's over there putting in some links for us. But yeah, Mike handled that artwork and did the editing on the video. You know, praises to Mike. Not to mention he crushes the drums. I mean, as a drummer, you appreciate what he's doing there. He's
solid as fuck.
Oh, and he gets a vocal on this record too. We have him. One of the songs that's on here. Let me tell you something. I sound like Fireman Bill. Let me tell you something.
Right.
So one of the songs on the record is kind of a weird one. It's a revamp of one of the songs from one of his old bands that he used to sing. And I got to hear the song, and I was like, this song is good, but I think you guys were approaching it wrong. You know, I wanted to make it like more spooky and scary, and I want it to sound like, you know, out in the woods, terrifying. Because that's what the song's about. It's called Old Black Crow. It's about drinking a lot and the, you know, trying to escape that addiction. I don't put words in Mike's mouth, but so he sings that one. Let me tell you something. For recording his vocal, the final vocal that's on that song, was the scratch track. It was literally Mike sitting in the corner of the rehearsal room, handheld mic, lyrics on the floor on a piece of paper in front of him. One take with a click track and me playing guitar. And that's it. That same take that we recorded in the room is the one that's on the record. Do you know how rare that is in a recording situation where you know, where the scratch track is so fucking good that he wanted to recut it. We were like, you will not recut this.
Yep.
You will we're keeping the original track because it's got a great presence to it, you know, and it was like, yeah, we're not touching it. It's going to be that vocal. And, you know, we did our dumb shit with it where we put banjo and piano and theremin and water drum and God, I can't remember what all. There's probably 2 basses in that one.
Oh,
and it's spooky as fuck. You know,
nice.
But, yeah, so he gets a vocal on this record, which aside from some like, you know, hooting and hollering in the background, we hadn't had anyone else sing on our records too much. So you know, I'm proud that we got a Mikey vocal on a song, and he crushes it. He crushes the song. Yeah, you know, I feel like I'm giving Mike a lot of praise. Mike, you're welcome. And
he's
also,
like, I'm off the cliff now.
Listen, you know, Mikey and I are the 2 most original members of this band, and so we've been through all the weird shit together. And you know, that's my dude. That's my main dude. Like, you know, he's an anchor. You know, he's holding it down for us. You know,
hell yeah.
You know, some drummers are real skitsy. You know, I'm sure you know this.
I know I've replaced many of them.
Yeah, that's like part, by the way.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
Some drummers are real skitsy. You know, they can't play unless they set their drums up with a fucking abacus and a protractor, and you know what I'm talking. They have like a level, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, that's that's 5 degrees off. I'm not going to play this set, you know, like that kind of thing. Mike will pick up like a you know, like a pot and a pan and a spoon, and it'll be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I can use this. I can work. He's worked. You know how it is when you come to a club and they're like, yeah, our house set is decent, and you get there and it's like, what the fuck is this thing? And Mike's like, no, I can work with this. And he doesn't complain. He sets it up, sits down, and crushes the drums. And, like, you know, I've worked with guys who are, you know, thoroughbreds who can play the shit out of the drums. But God forbid, like a cymbal pad, you know, a belt,
Right.
you know, not screwed down all the way. Holy shit, those guys lose their minds, you know?
I had a similar situation when I was on tour back in 2019. I played in Brooklyn, New York, and the club had a house kit. I was like, well, kind of reminds me of, you know, like a starter kit that you'd get for your 12-year-old. And I'm like, that's all right. I'll throw my cymbals on it. It'll be great. Played it just fine. I've always said that that's the mark of a true drummer. It's not the kit. It's not what type of kit. It's not what type of cymbal. It's can you make something out of nothing? And that always makes an excellent drummer and one who has an internal clock.
I mean, and you know, he will sit down behind any drum set and make it musical. And more importantly, like after the fact, he'll be like, yo, that looked like a rough go, man. Yeah, that set sucked, but you know, I played it, and you know, we got the set done, and you know, it's essential to be when you play with guys and with anybody, to have people who don't get thrown off their game by something being not
Right.
You know, and I say it all the time. I'm blessed because Mike can sit down behind any, you know, as long as like all the parts are pretty much functional, he can make it go.
Sure.
Josh, bass player, is more than happy to play through anybody's bass. It doesn't have to be his rig. He does not care. You know, he's like, does it get loud? You know, does it get loud? Can I be heard? Great. Give me a bass. I'll plug it in and, you know, don't worry about me, you know? And, you know, Jackie Boy is the closest thing to a human alien that I've ever met. But, and I say that with the utmost of love towards him.
Absolutely.
He is absolutely one of the kindest, sweetest, most interesting and creative people I've ever met. And probably the least experienced of the four of us. But Jackie will get up there and do his thing. And generally he doesn't complain. Afterwards he'll be like, yeah, I couldn't hear shit. I'll be like, well, you didn't act like it. You played fine, you know?
Right.
And you know, Josh is much the same way. Like I said, he'll just get up and do whatever's there. I would say that I'm slightly more of a diva than these guys, where it's like, you know, look, I'm just going to be honest. I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
I want to. It doesn't throw me. Excuse me. It doesn't throw me off my game, but I will walk off the stage a little less than enthusiastic about a performance if I can't get a good guitar sound or I can't hear myself well. You know, but you know, like we muddle through it, and then afterwards we'll go like, "What the fuck was that, man?" You know, that happens sometimes. It's like, you know,
It does.
You have
It
a rough go, and
We're
sometimes
our own worst enemies when it comes to playing. Trust me.
Yeah, that's have like a sound guy who doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and like,
Right.
you know, or they don't listen to you. Like, you know, like, yeah, could I get some guitar in the monitor? Can I get some vocal in the monitor? And I should be good with everything else. And then all you end up with is vocal in your monitor that's as loud as you can possibly imagine, to the point where you can't hear the guitar. And then you're like, well, thanks for fucking nothing, buddy. Like, now I feel like I'm just like yelling for no reason because I don't hear the roaring guitar that's supposed to be happening here. You know,
It happens.
you know, but the more you deal with that kind of stuff, the less it phases you, right? So,
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm fortunate to play with guys who don't get they don't get
bent out of shape.
yeah, like, I'll be like, oh, it looks like you got to use this, and I'll be like, all right, yeah, that'll work. Be like, is the sound gonna get out there? Is the sound gonna come to me? All right, it's gonna sound like us no matter what we play through. So, let's go. It's always kind of like that. That's another thing. We all love to play. We like to play in front of.
That's the main thing. The passion for the music, right there.
Yeah, we love to play our songs. We love to. That's we love music, and and we like being around each other. So the combination of us being able to play music together and then like go get burgers,
right?
But that's a big thing for us is enjoying traveling together. Jack is a genius at finding good restaurants any place we go. He's in his iPhone and it'll be like, it looks like there's it looks like this place has custom burgers with alcoholic milkshakes, and they have gluten-free.
That's awesome.
We've just learned to trust them about this.
Yep.
So we'll be like, Jack will be like, yeah, it looks like there's a barbecue place 2 miles up on the left. Be like, well, that's where we're fucking going then. And,
Right.
And he's never led us astray, which is astounding. We've never,
Right.
Wherever we go, we're like,
Band members have that knack. They really do.
listen, bands travel on their stomach, and
Right.
and I never look. I like Waffle House as much as the next guy. Waffle House is awesome.
We all have Waffle House stories out there in the Morgrot universe. I'm sure you do as well.
But I like I enjoy greasy, trashy food from time to time. But man,
Sure.
I'll take an off the beaten track weird diner that has croquettes or crepes. Any day, I'll take one of those places over some corporate place.
Yep, big time. We love our mom and pop places. That's for sure.
Like if we're playing in that community, right? We want to support that community with money. I don't need to give. I don't need to give. What is it? Tom Evans any more money? You know what I mean?
Definitely not.
What's the one Tommy was talking about? He likes to go to Cracker Barrel. And I teach them about that, But I'm like, yeah, I don't need to give Cracker Barrel any fucking money. Like they have plenty of money, and I don't need to be another 4 crackers in a Cracker Barrel. You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
But they just got a whole beer menu.
I don't give 2 shits about beer, to be perfectly honest.
It's like where I go in the Midwest, there's, those big billboards, as I'm traveling and doing stuff, and they all say, just got beer. Come on in. I'm like, they show, eggs and bacon and all the great shit that, we know that they make. And then it's like, look at our beer menu. I'm just okay, who wants beer with their fucking breakfast? Not this guy.
Well, but here's the thing. Who am I to shit on what you like, right?
Right, for sure.
As they say, I'm not going to yuck your yum, But but I mean, like that. What matters to me more, and especially the older I get, I don't want to eat anything that's going to make me feel bad on the road. I don't.
That would.
Yeah, especially because listen, I already told you. As I'm up here singing and playing theremin and playing guitar, the last thing I need is any kind of gastric difficulty.
Exactly right.
The last thing I need to do is go for a high note and shit myself. And
can't do Taco Bell no more.
well, Taco Bell's not too bad, but it's like, I'll give you a really good example. when we were up in Connecticut, we were staying with Scott from Salt of the Earth Records. He's a good friend of ours. He put out our first couple records. We adore Scott. Scott and his wife Christy are wonderful people. And when we play up in New England, they're always like, "You have to stay at our house." And we're like, "We'd love to." And there's a great diner not far from Scotty's place that we go to. We love it there. It's called Herman's in Colchester, Connecticut. Shout out to Herman's. Great food. We're coming home from Herman's after eating this giant breakfast, right? We're coming back to Scott's place. And we're passing by the town square. It could not be more idyllic, right? There's this town square. It's all green. The fall, and they're doing like a farmer's market.
Nice.
So we're like, I'm like, guys, hold my hand. Let's go to the farmer's market. We're going to go skip to the farmer's market, which probably looked hilarious. We're going to the farmer's market, and there's a jerky truck, right? And jerky is amazing, right? And Jack's like, I'm buying some jerky. I'm like, bet. So he buys like Carolina Reaper jerky.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I know where this is headed.
You might and you might not. So he buys this Carolina Reaper jerky. And we're sitting in Scott's house, and he breaks open the jerky, and you can smell it. It smells like amazing jerky. I'm like, you know what? Give me a piece of that. So I take a piece of it. Josh takes a piece. Jack is just housing this fucking whole thing of Carolina Reaper jerky. Apparently, his entire intestinal tract is made up of vegetables.
Apparently.
Two pieces of stuff. Yes, farm fresh button.
Good.
That is a different story. So,
yep, I'm sure.
So I eat the two pieces of the jerky, and I'm like, Jack, this is uncomfortable. It's like been 3 or 4 minutes, and my mouth is still really burning. And he's like, drink water or something. I'm like, I don't. So that goes. We go to the venue, and several hours later, and I'm like, let's eat something because there was a restaurant attached to R.I.P. Altone's or Prost Beer Hall, which is not there, and it's not there anymore. So we're sitting there. We order our food, and I'm like, let me hit the bed before I eat. I go to the bathroom, and that spicy Carolina Reaper that went in spicy, the shit came out spicy too. And I was in a moment of significant gastrointestinal distress.
Yep.
And kept running back to the bathroom, and it was unpleasant. So I was able to eat my dinner, and then just like walking around feeling, like just my butthole was on fire, And I can't remember the name of this band, but I walked outside, and the guy in this other band, younger dudes than me, they're like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Not great, not great, no, not great for me.
Not doing well. Nope. Trying to keep my pieces together."
Yeah, I'm doing the clench, and like I was. Do you think that Walgreens over there is open? And he's like, what do you need? I said, I need something. My stomach is just in a mess right now. The guy, I have Tums in the car, and I'm like, give me all of those bitches,
I'm just gonna like jump right now. Come on.
Oh yeah, please, I ate like 5 Tums, and that finally calmed things down for me. So as a rule, now I'm careful about what I eat because, like I definitely shat myself that night. You know what I mean? And so, like, it's a lesson I have to learn. I'm not a young man anymore. I can't just put whatever I want into my body and expect to function.
Right.
So, you live and learn. My girlfriend, who's watching us right now, is there. Yeah, you old ass motherfucker. Like, get it together. Stop sleeping on the floor. you know, stop sleeping on the floor, stop eating garbage, stop staying up all night, don't go home with dumb, weird, freaky people and expect, use your head, you're not 20 anymore. And she's right, of course. They're always right. She's always right about that kind of shit. It takes, I'm a dumb old man, it takes me a while to learn things.
That'd be me as well. Cody says, I have some hot sauce called the End Flatline. The place I bought it from, if you try it in the store, you have to sign a waiver because it could give someone a heart attack possibly caused by it. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Aaron says, yeah, not for me. Too hot. I feel that. I can't do hot shit.
That sounds to me like the kind of thing that that Jack would be like, yes, please.
Yeah, right. No, it's like, what the hell, man? You got a cast iron stomach still? What the shit?
I don't know how he does it. I don't know what's going on in there. Either it's made out of, like I said, some kind of flame retardant, asbestos or whatever. But
not human.
He's a billionaire, I'm sure he could eat a can, The only thing he can't eat is gluten, unfortunately. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was the silver lining. You can eat all the hot shit you want, just can't have the gluten.
Yeah. But that also means, he's particularly good at finding places to eat because, we're not going to eat crap, Like I said, he's a character. He'll reach in his backpack and be like, I don't even like mozzarella balls now. While we're driving, for the Italian market in Philly.
Anyone? Baby Bell.
No, this is fresh mozzarella balls from the Italian market in Philly.
God damn.
Oh yeah. I told you, we don't play when it comes to food.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But as a matter of fact, when we're just very excited for your journey, and your album is coming out soon. Do you guys have a release date for that?
Yeah. It looks like we're on track to release that August 30th. And
nice.
Yeah, we couldn't be happier about it. The vinyl is going to look amazing. It's that cover that you've got there, and then more art on the inside.
Ooh, to see it.
Oh, and the vinyl, I know we're having a splatter version. We have, that's our choice, was the splatter version, and then there's a version that Tommy chose, a solid one color, but it's some other color. And ours is the weird splatter of color. It's going to look amazing, and in my opinion, when I listen to the test press, in my opinion, I put it on, and it's the kind of record, it's an old school record where you put it on, you start the first song, you sit down, you listen, you get to the end of side one, you flip it over, and you listen to that. It's not one song you listen to. You listen to the whole thing. All the songs kind of morph into each other. And yeah,
I love that.
We could not be more excited to get this out into the world. It's been done since we finished the record in late. Well, let's see. We finished the record in late December, early January. So as you can see, it's July now, and now it's finally about to come out this month. So, you don't know. We had this video done a while ago, and we were like, "Oh, we want you to see the video," And
so bad.
Right. We were like, "Oh, the video's done. I just want to show it to everybody," And
right.
And it was like, "Oh, the single's done. I just want everyone to hear it," And so, it's gratifying that guys like you and other folks are hearing our stuff and it's hitting with you. It's it's speaking to folks, and they feel excited about it as well. You know, I could go full artist route and be like, well, we do it for ourselves, and we've got to make ourselves happy first, and blah blah blah. And that is absolutely true. Like, we put out a record that we like very, very much. But the thing is, it's nice to have that validation from other people who listen to it and say, like, yo, this hit me like this and made me feel like that, or whatever. When people come back at you and you say, like, you sound like Pepper, and that, we've got Black Sabbath and Crowbar and Down, and all those things are hitting you from what you're hearing. I mean, we like all of that stuff, and having somebody else say, like, it made them feel a good way, or it made them think about something, or reminded them of something else, and it feels good to them. That validation is very gratifying.
Yes,
as an artist,
definitely.
You don't really want, like, it doesn't feel good when you play something for somebody and they go, ew.
Right. That's my wife on about 90% of the music I listen to, so I know exactly what you mean.
So, when you come out with something and people are listening to it and they're like, yo, this is good, I like this, I fuck with this, that makes you, hey Aaron, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good about what you created. It makes you feel good about, it makes you, like, realize, it's like, maybe I'm not that fucking weird because I like this and other people like
it. Yeah.
Sure. You definitely have those questions, right? When you're working on a piece of music, you're like, did I just put a big old turd in people's ears?
Right.
Did I, like, I like it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I like it. I feel good about it. But, like, did I just, like, come up with something that's, I like it, I convinced myself to like it? Or is it, like, actually something that, like, listenable and someone wants to hear? And is it going to speak to people? And so when, like I said, when you're like, yeah, this spoke to me, this hit me this way or that way, and it feels good to me, that gives you that. It gives you a very good feeling, like, okay, I'm not the only fucking weirdo out here who likes these weird noises,
Absolutely, man. And all of my demons out there that have tuned in tonight, they have heard the tracks. I've been seeing the comments. I've been putting them up, and they're with you, man. Like I said, we don't have to have blast beat central. We don't have to have 30-second note riffing all the time. Those things are fun, but it's a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different feeling. But with what Thunderbird Divine is doing, it's that feel-good fucking groove stoner metal that I love. I've always loved growing up, just as well as the heaviest shit I could get my hands on. And that's why, here at the Underground, I'm always talking about, guys, I'm here to open your eyes and ears to different flavors that are multiple levels of heaviness. And we all have those go-to chill bands that we like to hear, or we just like to, like, oh, yeah, this shit is bumping, and you guys are definitely that. And I can see that from, like I said, all of my viewers that have been tuned in tonight. And we just can't wait to get our hands on that. So here's the shameless plug point. Where can they find Thunderbird Divine on all social media, all the things? Let's go ahead and plug that real quick.
Sure. So if you search Thunderbird Divine in your Google browser, this will be sounding like 100 years old. If you get on your internet machine,
right?
When you get on your internet machine, search for Thunderbird Divine. You will find us on Bandcamp. You will find us on Facebook. You will find us on Instagram. You will find us on TikTok. and on Threads, and you can find us on iTunes and a lot of the other streaming platforms. You can find us there. We're on YouTube. There's a bunch of our songs on YouTube. And of course, we have a YouTube channel that's sparsely populated right now, but we have two more. We have our
It'll
first
get
video
there.
coming out Friday, which will premiere on Black Doomba Records YouTube page. And then we'll have another single that comes out shortly thereafter, and that will also premiere on their YouTube page. And they'll also be on our page as well. So we're on a lot of the socials, and of course, you can always, like I said, if you can't find us in this day and age by using social media, using a Google, you know, if you can't find us on your internet machine, I really, I'm very, very surprised. You know, is that what the kids are calling it? They're calling it an internet machine, right? On and
I think it's simply the net.
World Wide Web. It's a series of tubes, I've been told.
I'm sure that's one of them as well.
Invented by Al Gore. That's why they call it the algorithm.
Right. Well, man, it has definitely been a pleasure having you on the show. I definitely want to get you guys back on. You know, after the album drops in August, I'd love to have you back on and promote any shows and stuff that you're going to be doing, because as you know, bands like this fucking play everywhere. They go on short tours, and I want to make sure that you guys know that if Thunderbird Divine is coming your way, you need to know about it so you can get out there, support. Like he said, they're also on Bandcamp, so any kind of merch and stuff like that you want to get your hands on, and I'm always the biggest purveyor of buying physical media. Just because Spotify's there, that just gives you a taste. I feel like that's a taste tester. You need to get the physical album. And many of my demons out there in the Morgrot universe love vinyl. So the fact that you can get this new record on vinyl when that drops, you're going to want to make sure you get that. Special thanks to Tommy Stewart for signing this fantastic fucking band. It's so good to see that this sound is still evolving. It's getting more exciting, and giving us so much different flavors that we have always enjoyed. It's been a long time since the stoner. I've always kind of felt like the stoner metal end of the genre needs to kind of like up the game a little bit, and you guys are definitely leading the torch for that. So definitely a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you to everybody out there for choosing Reapers Underground on a Wednesday night hump day. You know, so that now you got a whole bunch of fucking good metal to listen to as you are finishing your week. And again, thank you so much, Eric, for being with us. And don't forget, we got more shows coming up this weekend. The goddamn program on Saturday night is going to be live from Nashville, because I'll be in Nashville for the horror con there, and it's going to be a blast. So as you are getting ready to maybe start the grind yet again tomorrow at the job, and you know, you're looking for something to get you through the day, just remember, Thunderbird Divine will give you that quiver in the liver that you are absolutely needing. And the most important thing to remember is stay heavy.